Okay. I think this is working. Sorry, I'm gonna have the volume down for the music really low so you can hear me talk, because I'm not gonna be talking very loudly. It's not so much for, because I can't, but it does take quite a bit of effort to speak quietly instead of speak like at full volume, and I'm trying to be, respectful, you know, of the people who live with me, and I don't want to talk too loud and distract them.
You are
Oh,
incandescent.
hey,
Going to become a
Marta,
magnificent captain because
how you
you
doing?
do everything out of love. But
If you're a fan of Star Trek, you know where the clip is from.
after me,
I was streaming, so I'd actually show it, not just let you hear
I will
it.
say
I will say,
fewer things.
you were okay.
Okay, so I just wanted to talk about what's going on with me, and I haven't been doing a great job of documenting my recovery because it's been so hard to do things like write. I got my bullet journal out, but I haven't been filling it out, and holding a pen is okay, but writing with it's kind of tough, so. Anyway, I'm speaking quietly just so I don't make too much noise, not because I'm unable to speak. I'm okay. I've actually been getting quite a bit better. So, where I'm at, you know what, hold on, let me see if I can pull up my chat so that I don't miss any more messages. Actually, I can see, okay. I'm still pretty noob at Twitch, and, I was trying to transition into my guitar building, so I moved my second monitor into my garage, and I'm using one monitor, and I'm still not good at doing the whole Twitch thing with one monitor, but anyway. I'm gonna take my headphones off so I can hear myself. All I'm really listening to is the same music you can hear. If you can hear it at all, it's pretty low. And I'll just talk. Okay, so today is what? The 30th. Halloween is tomorrow. I collapsed on October 8th, so it's been basically 2 weeks and a day. 3 weeks and a day. That felt longer than 2 weeks. Anyway, the day after I collapsed, I was totally paralyzed. I couldn't move from my bed. I couldn't even push myself up in bed. And I felt very, very, well, I was like an invalid. It was like being a spinal cord injury victim. What I've learned is that your brain can only handle high cortisol levels for so long. Cortisol is the stress hormone. That's the one that your brain and your pituitary gland and all that stuff. Glands. Being human and having glands. What a terrible thing to have to deal with. Cortisol is the stress hormone. And it's part of what helps you with your fight or flight response, stuff like that. And your body can't handle it being too high for too long. And I'm looking back and realizing kind of where my stress started and the lifestyle that I had, how it changed. For about 15 years, it has been sky high. I'm sorry to say that started right around the time I got married. I was in a pretty nasty, abusive marriage. That's how I feel about it. I'm not going to talk about the individual. For all I know, she can see this stream and she's going to have words with me, but I don't give a damn. What I've learned is that lowering those cortisol levels is helping me recover, because what I have is something called a conversion disorder. And there's a lot of controversy about this because the diagnosis of conversion disorder has a lot of problems, either with doctors that don't believe patients or a root in some pretty terrible chauvinistic ideas. Conversion disorder, as it's named, has only been named like that since about the 1980s. I've been doing some research. Before that, they called it hysterical disorder, and if you know anything about the etymology of the word hysteria, you know that's pretty chauvinistic. Pretty anti-feminist, I would say. They called it that because the natural philosophers of the 19th century believed that a woman's uterus would dry up and then wander the body, causing problems. It's wild stuff. It's stupid, idiotic. But that's where conversion disorder comes from as far as the medical terminology. And they've moved on and I think grown up a bit, a little bit. The idea is that a conversion disorder is, it manifests as physical symptoms that you would expect from neurological disorders and pathologies, things like stroke, MS, brain tumors, that kind of thing, right? The thing with a conversion disorder is that there's no medical evidence for it, because it's all psychological. It's all about hormones in your blood and in your brain. There's a documentary on Netflix, I believe it's called Unrest, that some people have told me to watch. I've had some people come and tell me, you don't have conversion disorder because it's not real, and all this other stuff, which I find really funny because people with conversion disorders and things like chronic fatigue syndrome and that kind of thing are told, historically been told by doctors that it's all in their head and it's not real. The truth is, a conversion disorder is different than a chronic fatigue syndrome because conversion disorder has no medical pathology. There's nothing actually wrong with my body. There is something wrong with my brain, but it's all about hormones, not about like damage or, a physical injury. I want to say, like, if you have a conversion disorder and you end up like me, the truth is, yeah, you've been injured. It's an injury, but it's not like a physical trauma. It's a psychological trauma adding to a neurological trauma, which is what's happening. It's neurology. So my brain has had a hard time talking with my body and has to relearn how to do it. And it's taken 3 weeks now since I've been able to walk around and that kind of stuff. But I have been progressing, and the truth is, I have been progressing with good company and love and good people. I've had visits from friends, and after they go home, I make some miraculous, like, leaps in ability. Right now, I am shuffling around like a zombie. That's how I'm going to talk about it. I can't walk, but I can get around. I can stand up and move around, and I look like a zombie. It's awesome. So I get to be a zombie. And do the best I can not to fall. I don't think I'll get in trouble with Twitch for showing this, but I fell the other day. Landed on a table, and I got a pretty bad bruise in this scrape. It hurts. I debated whether or not to, be a little too honest and not wear my sweater, just to show the effects that it's having on me. I don't think I'll get in trouble with the terms of service with Twitch, but I figured, whatever, I'll just wear a shirt. I've got patches on my chest that were shaved off because they had to put electrodes on my skin, and I'm a little bit of a fuzzy guy, if you can't tell. I've got a stupid haircut right now because my hair is growing.
Are you streaming?
Mm-hmm. You don't have to go away, just so you know, if you don't want to jump on camera.
No thanks.
Yeah, so let's let you know. Anyway.
Are we doing lunchtime?
Yeah, I can wait. That's okay. If you want to.
Well, I'll just eat now and I'll make you some.
Okay, that sounds good. I'm just gonna be on for a couple of minutes. I'm just trying to document some stuff, you know?
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, where was I? Right. So, there's a lot of backlash, especially because of this documentary that seems to have gotten pretty popular on Netflix. But one thing I've learned is that it doesn't apply to me. And when I tried watching it, I actually got really, really sad and freaked out, so I stopped. Because I don't have chronic fatigue syndrome. The symptoms look exactly the same, but it's not the same thing. The pathology is totally different. And I have been recovering with good conversation, basically. I was wondering, especially at the beginning when I was totally paralyzed and a complete invalid, how am I gonna know if things are getting better? because I keep being told by the doctors and by the psychiatrists, well, not the psychiatrists because I don't have one anymore, but by the psychologists, that it's about a brain block. And the doctors in the ER, right? You gotta lower your cortisol levels and your brain can unlock your body again. You can start moving and using it. And I was like, well, how does that happen? It turns out, because even 3 weeks later, I still haven't been to a single visit with a specialist. Because, I'll tell you, we like to brag in Canada about free healthcare, but that's like the most basic stuff. That's like, you break your leg, you go and get a cast. This other stuff, it's all about where you get insurance from, how you pay for it. Same thing. I'm on disability now so that I can focus on my recovery instead of stressing about work. And I'm very lucky that I can do that. Most people can't. I've got 2/3 of my wage covered, I think, which makes things difficult, like child support payments and that kind of thing, but I'm still working on it. And now that I can sit in the computer, like you see me now, things are easier and a bit better. But in any case, kind of going with that. Thanks, Marta. I've been watching your streams so much, and it's been giving me happy nostalgia. It's been great. But anyway, I've been focusing on a few things. Understanding that, those days after I've had some good company over, suddenly I can move my leg better than I could before. And I didn't feel anything. Nothing happened. I just could do it suddenly. And that's how it's been going. And like I said, I'm at the point now where I can zombie shamble around. It's pretty awesome. I'll demonstrate in a sec because it feels good to get up and move around, feel like I have some freedom. And I've been thinking a lot about the future and daydreaming about it, basically, doing that visualization stuff, but I have to share some things, and I'm feeling a little weird about sharing this. I know Marta's on stream, and I know that I think she likes to stop short of being a vegan evangelist, but she likes to talk about it, and how, the vegan lifestyle can help the planet and help you and stuff like that without being preachy about it. So this next bit I want to talk about a little bit, because it's something I've really struggled with, and lately, just out of nowhere, because of what's going on, I have figured something out, and I'm going to stick with it. The psychiatrist that I used to have told me a lot about how I needed to focus on mindfulness and meditation, and that it would help with some of those, really mild symptoms that I used to have before leading up to the accident. And I always had trouble. I tried hard. I tried using the Headspace app, and, it was difficult for me. I think my issue was that I found that rather than using the meditation to relax, I needed to be relaxed before I started trying to meditate. And that was just impossible, and I tried so hard and it just never worked. So I've got a friend who, he got into a motorcycle accident when he was a kid. He used to be into motocross and stuff like that, and he actually broke his neck. And because of it, he's had some health problems for a while, for his whole life. He has to deal with stuff, right? And then his wife, a few years ago, maybe 10 years ago, was diagnosed with an autoimmune problem that was really wreaking havoc on her body. And so he did some research to try and find a way to help them get through it. And that's when he discovered Wim Hof. And I'm sure some of you guys have heard of him. I want to promise something here. I am not a sycophant. I dealt with doing that for too much of my life. I used to be without calling out a specific sect or anything like that, I was pretty fundamentalist Christian for most of my life. That's how the community I was surrounded by, and I'm really leery of things like a cult of the personality type things, and I didn't know how much of global fame Wim Hof himself has gotten, but I looked into his method. A friend of mine told me about it, said it was the only thing that managed to help him. I learned that what he does is mostly breathing techniques that kind of follow I think they call it Tumo meditation, which is like a Tibetan monk kind of a thing involved with yoga and all sorts of other stuff, which is great stuff. But so I looked up Wim Hof, learned about some of the medical science that he has contributed to with his method, which makes me happy because it's good to be a skeptic. And anyway, so I tried it. I just tried it. And if I were to like boil it down and explain it really poorly, what I would say is that his method involves a breathing technique that saturates your body and your blood with oxygen to give you more power, basically, inside of your body. One of the breathing exercises is that you breathe this way that he tells you, where you breathe in as much as possible, almost to the point where you're like hyperventilating, or maybe it is hyperventilating, I don't know, and you saturate your cells with oxygen, and then you just hold your breath. You just stop breathing, and then the miraculous thing is that you find that you can hold your breath a very long time because you're full of oxygen in your cells, to the point where your parasympathetic nerve doesn't force you to breathe. And I'm finding when all the troubles that I used to have with meditation has been helping here, because I have to actively do something while I am focusing on my body and meditating. And it's been helping, and I've been able to do it for about a week, not quite a week. I have been doing the method, so it's not like I'm an expert or anything, but it's improved my mood, made me happy, and made me think of something I'm going to start doing for the rest of my life, which is finding another way to really take care of my body. A little while ago, a few minutes ago, I started talking about stress and stress hormones and how long I realized that my brain has been fighting with this. 10, 15 years, I gained a lot of weight. And I have recently started eating as much plant-based as possible. A lot of chickpeas, curries, and stuff. I don't like all of it, but I try. Especially to throw out those outdated, stupid ideas that vegans are dumb or something like that, or vegan food is terrible. It's not. Some of it's really great. And it's just about savory flavors and spices, and it's just about the ingredients you choose. No big deal. So I've been living mostly, I would say probably 95% plant-based, because my roommate, my partner, is a vegan and has been helping me kind of learn the ropes a little bit. And we cook together, or we did, when I could cook, when I could stand up all the time. And I've been working on it. And I lost 20 pounds before my accident in about a month and maybe 5 weeks. I've probably lost another 15 pounds the last 3 weeks, just because I have very little activity and I don't eat a lot because I'm sick, right? I don't feel the urge to eat a lot or snacks or stuff like that. But anyway, so that's where I'm at. And to add this meditation practice to it that I think will really help me for the rest of my life, I'm really happy about it. And so, like I said, I don't want to be like an evangelist or a sycophant, but I'll tell you, if you want to check it out, look up Wim Hof. And I know that it's just like his own version of another meditation practice that's been around for thousands of years, probably. But it's been working for me, and I think, I'm not going to say that it is the reason I'm getting better, but I do think it's contributing, if nothing else, then because of my mood. And I'm being told by doctors that my mood is probably the most important thing in recovery, so go figure. And I'll tell you, they call him the Iceman, if you know who I'm talking about. When he does Tai Chi in the wilderness, in the snow, in bare feet in his underwear, watching that goofy old Dutch dude with his beard doing Tai Chi, it makes me feel happy. And it makes me excited for the outdoors and excited for my future. Because I've realized that what really makes me happy is this idea of kind of a bucolic or pastoral sort of lifestyle. My dad builds knives and tries to sell them on the internet. I had a plan to start a guitar building business and give guitars away to kids, but I like being outside and working on things. I grew up on a farm, building things like chicken coops and stuff like that. Anyway, he is a trained farrier, which basically means he's a blacksmith. Not that he's kind of really done it much less recent years. When he did it, like, as a job, he did it as a farrier, so he was always making horseshoes and shoeing horses and taking care of animals and stuff. And animal husbandry is really important to me. Anyway, I'm working on it to take advantage of opportunities that I have to be outdoors. And I don't necessarily mean in the, like, suburban get out and go camping kind of idea so much as like just being outside as often as possible, which helps this claustrophobia that I've developed from being paralyzed, you know? What I want to do is I want to see if I can find a place to build a coal forge for my dad to work with steel, because he uses propane, and propane is getting hot enough for you to use to work with steel very well. But anyway, all those details aside, you know, cooking with Dutch ovens in the campfire and hanging out with friends, like that's the kind of stuff I want to do. And what I'm realizing, and this is why I wanted to make this video or do this stream to talk to people, is that the cortisol, the stress, it'll kill you. It'll do things to you. It'll break you in half, just like it did me if you let it get out of control. And a big part of conversion disorder and the more severe symptoms has a lot to do with procrastination. My grandfather lives just out of town, 20-minute drive away, not a big deal. But I never seem to find the time to go and visit him. Even though he's alone, he's an octogenarian and needs support. And I seem to be able to find ways to put it off because I have excuses about how busy I am. You're only busy because you fight so hard to be too busy to do stuff. That's what it is. And for a long time, I have been wanting to be the kind of person to focus on family and focus on friends instead of how busy I am, you know, to deal with certain things involving my divorce. I know now that literally just talking to my ex and her lawyer can put me in a wheelchair because they're so abrasive and like to accuse me of things that aren't true, and it puts a lot of stress on me. And because I have tried to avoid some of that, the avoidance has caused that buildup of cortisol. If you do that, you can end up just like this. You can put yourself in a wheelchair without any physical injuries because you put things off, because you don't focus on things like relationships and family. Take it from me. It's terrible. You don't know what can happen to you. Nothing happened to me to cause this. I didn't get in a car accident. I didn't drown in a swimming pool. I'm sorry if any of those things trigger people. But I just collapsed one day because of the stress. And it's taken me 3 weeks to be able to shamble around like a zombie. You know, but I'm on the mend. I know that I have improved incredibly. I'm at the point now where the increments are really small and sort of hard to detect. Things like I can wiggle my toes a certain way that I couldn't a couple of days ago, but I think I really need to work on my hip flexors and my quads, which hopefully I'll be able to have a chance to do that safely with some physiotherapy. I've been doing some exercises in bed, along with my Wim Hof stuff, my breathing. I got one of those like stools you put in the shower so that you don't slip and fall in the shower, and I've been trying the cold therapy that Wim Hof talks about, right? Turning your cold water on in the shower, and you know, if I can get healthy enough to be able to get down on the floor and go and plug in my phone charger, you know, or sweep the kitchen, I will be very happy. Because for a while there, I was full of despair. The claustrophobia and the fear of the dark and stuff like that was really starting to get to me. And I was literally worried for a while that this was my new life, being a cripple. And I know now that that's not the case. I've had significant advances in the last couple of weeks, and I'm very happy for it. So I know I can get better. I just wish I understood a little bit more because the medical system is still really screwed up. I just want to see a goddamn specialist, physiotherapist, psychotherapist, start taking my cognitive behavioral therapy to help me with my brain thinking process to stop this kind of thing from happening in the future. Now that it's happened once, right? It's easy to break a second time, and I'm never, ever coming back here. Ever. Anyway, I wanted to share some of that. Take a look at this. I'm gonna back off from the desk now. 3 weeks ago, I was functionally paralyzed. Couldn't move. Had to get people to be human crutches just to escort me to the bathroom. You don't know how much you miss being able to go to the bathroom anytime you want when you're wondering if you can drink that water or not, because you know your body needs it, but you don't want to have to be stuck sitting in a chair for an hour waiting for someone to take you to go pee. But anyway, so that's where I was, and this is where I am now. Like I said, the zombie shamble is strong with this one. It's incredible, but I need to do more. I need to get better. It's more better. Need to be more better. I am optimistic, but I do need to document some of this stuff. So, take care of yourselves, because if you don't, your brain is going to decide to take a vacation because it can't handle it. Because if the stress and the pressure is too much, you know, bad things will happen. Right? You might as well get into a car accident and get it over with faster. Because it's like having a spinal injury or a stroke. The paramedics thought I had a stroke at first. I've been taking a lot of strength from people like Mikey Newman. If you don't follow Film Joy on YouTube yet, do it. Watch movies with Mikey. Mikey is a phenomenal, amazing human being. And I recently just exchanged a few words with him on Twitter because I knew he had a stroke a few years ago and he's been struggling. And he said himself, it never quite went back to normal, but a new normal has kind of been there, and surround yourself with good people. I am so lucky that it's not really a stroke. I don't have any kind of real pathology. I don't have a brain tumor. I don't have MS. At least I don't think. I have an MRI next week just to double check, but I'm sure it's going to come back clean. I can make a full recovery. So I am lucky. But it has been a very terrifying month. And if you want to avoid it and you've got a lot of stress, deal with the things that cause you stress and make some life changes, because you don't want to end up like this. It's scary. Especially because it seems like there's no reason for it, and then you got to deal with insurance and doctors and figure out how that works, and especially if you're American without any kind of subsidized healthcare, I can't imagine how scary it would be. I'm Canadian. I at least get my doctor's visits covered, if not my psychiatrist visits and my therapy and my physio and all that kind of stuff. But having a holistic approach, dealing with my muscles as well as changing the way my brain thinks about things through cognitive therapy is going to be the best chance I've got to make a full recovery. Not just focus on my brain, not just focus on my muscles, but do both. Anyway, I wanted to share that. Now I've got a video to save. I can put in my journal and continue working as hard as I can. You guys do the same, okay? Okay. Cheers, everybody, and thanks for everyone who stopped in just to say hi. Have a great day.